My wife left me on last month. I don't know what to do. We spend 2 years as wife and husband, 5 years as girlfriend and boyfriend. This is my sad life story. My name is Arjun, and I'm just a simple man trying to survive in this complicated world. I'm 22 years old, and my life has been anything but easy. I come from a poor family, and we've always struggled to make ends meet. My parents are old and frail, and my father's health has been declining for years. I failed my final college exams, and with no degree to my name, I had no choice but to take whatever work I could find. For the past few years, I've been working at construction sites, earning barely enough to keep my family afloat. Life has never been kind to me, but I always held on to one thing that kept me going, my love, Mia. Mia was my everything. We met during our college days, and from the moment I saw her, I knew she was different. She was brilliant, beautiful, and came from a wealthy family. I, on the other hand, was just a poor boy with nothing to offer. But against all odds, Mia fell in love with me. She saw something in me that no one else did. Her family, however, didn't share her feelings. They rejected me outright, calling me unworthy of their daughter. But Mia didn't care. She loved me deeply, and we decided to get married without her family's permission. It was a bold move, but we were young and in love, and we believed that was enough. For the first 2 years of our marriage, we lived with my parents in their small, crumbling home. It wasn't ideal, but we made it work. I continued working at construction sites, earning a meager $750 a month. Most of that money went toward my father's medicine, leaving little for anything else. Mia, who was far more educated than I was, eventually decided to find a job to help support us. She landed a position at a big company, earning an impressive $3,000 a month. Suddenly, our financial situation improved, but it came at a cost. Mia began to change. She started criticizing me for my low-paying job and my decision to prioritize my parents' needs. "How can I introduce you to my friends?" she would say. "How can I tell them my husband is a construction worker who earns only $750 a month?" Her words cut deep, but I tried to understand her frustration. I knew she deserved better, and I wanted to give her the life she dreamed of. So I found a new job at an office, earning $1,000 a month. The hours were long, and I often came home late at night, exhausted. But I was happy because Mia stopped arguing with me. For a year and a half, we lived in relative peace. During this time, I also started a YouTube channel in an attempt to improve our financial situation. I had heard stories of people making a living through content creation, and I thought it might be a way to earn some extra money. I didn't have any fancy equipment, just my old smartphone and a shaky tripod. I began uploading videos about my daily life, my struggles, and my dreams. I shared tips on saving money, talked about the challenges of working multiple jobs, and even posted a few vlogs about my relationship with Mia. At first, the channel didn't get much attention. I had only a handful of subscribers, mostly friends and family, but I kept at it, hoping that one day it would grow. Then, everything changed. Last August, Mia got a promotion at work. She became even busier, often working on weekends and coming home late at night. She insisted we move out of my parents' house and rent our own place. The rent was $750 a month, which was a significant portion of my salary, but I agreed because I wanted to make her happy. However, as time went on, I noticed subtle changes in her behavior. She started wearing tight, revealing dresses, something she had never done before. When I asked her about it, she brushed me off, saying, "This is how I need to dress for my job. You wouldn't understand." I tried to ignore my growing unease, but things only got worse. Mia began coming home late at night, often drunk. "It's just office parties," she would say. "You're a poor man. You wouldn't know how things work at my level." Her words stung, but I bit my tongue, not wanting to start another argument. I could feel her slipping away from me, but I didn't know how to stop it. Mia's frustration wasn't just directed at me. It spilled over to my parents as well. She began arguing with them over trivial things, like how they kept the house or the way they spoke to her. My mother, who had always been kind and welcoming, tried to keep the peace, but Mia's sharp words often left her in tears. My father, who was already weak and bedridden, would just lie there, helpless and heartbroken. One evening, the tension reached a boiling point. Mia came home from work in a bad mood and started yelling at my mother for not cleaning the kitchen properly. "I can't live in this filth," she screamed. "You people have no standards." I tried to calm her down, but she turned her anger on me. "You're just like them," she said. "You'll never amount to anything." That night, I sat with my parents, apologizing for Mia's behavior. They told me they understood, but I could see the pain in their eyes. They didn't deserve this. As Mia's behavior grew more erratic, she started going out more often. Not just for work, but for fun. She began attending nightclubs and wild parties with her friends, something she had never done before. She would come home in the early hours of the morning, smelling of alcohol and cigarettes. When I asked her about it, she would snap at me saying, "I work hard. I deserve to have some fun. You wouldn't understand." She also started spending money recklessly on fancy clothes, expensive handbags, and lavish dinners with her friends. Meanwhile, I was working night shifts at the office, barely making enough to cover our rent and expenses. I didn't complain though. I loved her, and I wanted her to be happy. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. Mia stopped cooking for me altogether. In the past, she would at least make simple meals, but now she barely even entered the kitchen. I didn't mind cooking for her though. I would come home from my night shifts, exhausted, and still prepare her favorite dishes. She would eat without a word of thanks, then leave for work, or go out with her friends. I also started secretly sending money to my parents. They were struggling more than ever, and I couldn't bear to see them suffer. I knew Mia would be furious if she found out, so I did it quietly, taking small amounts from my salary whenever I could. But she always seemed to know. "Why do you keep visiting your parents?" she would ask accusingly. "You're wasting money on them when we can barely afford our own lives." I didn't argue. I just kept quiet, hoping she wouldn't find out the truth. One evening, Mia's phone rang while she was in the bathroom. I glanced at the screen and saw a name that made my heart stop. Baby. Who was this baby? My mind raced with questions, but I didn't confront her. Instead, I decided to investigate on my own. I followed her after work one day, and what I saw shattered me. She got into her boss's car, and they drove to a luxurious house. I waited outside, my heart pounding, until hours later when the car finally emerged and dropped Mia off near our home. That night, I confronted her. "I know everything," I said, my voice trembling. "I saw what you did with your boss." Mia didn't deny it. Instead, she exploded in anger. "Yes, I'm with him now," she shouted. "He's my new boyfriend. You're a poor, worthless man. You can't even afford to buy me a single dress. You're nothing but a rat." Her words felt like knives cutting through my soul. In a moment of rage, I slapped her. She stormed off to the bedroom, crying, while I collapsed on the couch, numb with pain. The next morning, she was gone. I called her, desperate for answers, but her response was cold and final. "I've left you," she said. "I can't live with someone like you. It's over." And just like that, the woman I loved, the woman I had sacrificed so much for, was gone. Now I'm left alone, broken and lost. I don't know what to do or where to go from here. My family depends on me, but I can barely take care of myself. Mia was my anchor, my reason for pushing forward, and without her, I feel like I'm drowning. My YouTube channel, which I started with so much hope, now feels like a distant dream. I haven't uploaded a video in weeks. How do I move on from this? How do I rebuild my life when everything I've worked for has fallen apart?